Is constantly being connected and plugged in harmful for your well-being and mental health? Listen to this podcast episode to learn how to unplug to reconnect with yourself and improve your self-care in your day-to-day life. If you struggle with technology addiction, or if you know technology can be a negative trigger for you personally and you want to be more intentional with how you use it, then this episode is perfect for you. Welcome to Calmly Coping. I'm your host, Tati Garcia. I'm a licensed therapist and a high-functioning anxiety coach. Calmly Coping is the podcast for people who struggle with anxiety and high-functioning anxiety. Each Wednesday, you'll hear informative episodes with actionable tips about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy so you can live a calm and balanced life. Let's get started. This is episode number 43, How to Unplug for Self-Care in Your Day-to-Day. Welcome back, and welcome if you're a first-time listener. Thank you so much for tuning in. So these days, technology and social media are ubiquitous. It can be hard to find a moment free from distractions, notifications, social media, and others around you wavering in and out of the moment to check their phones. So it's great to be connected to others. We have a level of access to information that has never been seen before in time. Just the invention of the cell phone has created so much more connectivity than ever imagined. No more than 20 years ago, most people were unable to communicate with each other unless they were next to a landline phone. So additionally, the invention of the smartphone has allowed us to look up directions, connect with others via social media, and look up information at the drop of the hat. But as you may already know, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Despite the many benefits of technology, there are downsides to always being available to others and the internet. So always being available can increase stress and anxiety. We have less time to truly relax because even the sight of your phone on the table can leave a part of your brain that is active in preparation for a distraction at any moment. This can make it more difficult to focus and to tune into what you're really doing. And let's be real, multitasking is a myth that results in decreased productivity and accuracy in both professional and personal realms. So being on your phone while watching TV or answering texts while you're trying to study are both ways that you're dividing your attention and not truly focusing on either task. In addition, being connected to the internet and social media can increase that feeling called the fear of missing out, or FOMO. You don't want to miss the latest news, that text from your family member, or that Facebook update, do you? This FOMO can lead to compulsive checking of smart devices, causing addiction, and that paradoxical feeling of actually not being connected to others. And then there's the comparison game. No matter how immune you think you may be, it can be difficult to not automatically compare yourself to the snapshots you see of other people's lives online. This can result in lower self-esteem, increased stress, and increased depression. And lastly, always being connected can decrease the creativity that comes from boredom. When you're constantly stimulated by readily accessible entertainment and information, you're not allowing your brain time to process and digest the information you're getting. We are so information overloaded that our brains don't have the time to be creative, and creativity often comes about through boredom. So one of my resolutions for 2021 was to go more analog. And this is a term that I borrowed from the book Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, which I highly recommend. So I noticed that constantly checking my email, going on social media, and being glued to devices was having a negative impact on my mental health. And I noticed the huge contrast when I engaged in activities such as reading, playing guitar, which I recently started relearning, or even doing creative endeavors on the computer like graphic creation without the lure of the internet. The benefits that I've derived from intentionally making this switch have been countless, and I hope to teach you some easy changes that you can make in your life to intentionally unplug without having to go on vacation in a desolate cabin so that you can fully reconnect with yourself. Because one thing that I've noticed about my personal relationship with technology and social media, as well as in witnessing the relationship that my clients have with social media and technology, is that when you're sucked into it and when you're so used to grabbing your phone and scrolling through Instagram and constantly checking your email or multitasking by watching Netflix and then being on your phone at the same time, you might not even be fully aware of what you're doing to your mind. And you're being a passive consumer of what you're putting into your brain, essentially, rather than being intentional. The thing with technology and things like email and social media is that you're not choosing what you want to see. And so when you're not choosing something, then you're susceptible to whatever is going to be thrown at you by the algorithm or by emails or by texts and the things that people want from you. And this can be stressful and overwhelming. And I don't want that for you. So what I'm going to do is talk about some tips so that you can unplug for self-care in order to reconnect with yourself. I have a quote that I want to share by Henry David Thoreau. Quote, "That man is rich whose pleasures are the cheapest," unquote. So I think it's essential to plan moments to disconnect to reconnect with yourself during everyday life. Doing so can positively impact your mood, happiness, and creativity. So what do you have to lose? Hey, I wanted to take a quick break to tell you about my free quiz to help you determine if you have high-functioning anxiety and how significant it is for you. In this PDF download, I will walk you through a series of simple questions to assess your level of high-functioning anxiety, and then you will also score how you land in the 4 different categories of high-functioning anxiety symptoms. Lastly, you will get personalized resources depending on your results. To download this quiz, you can go to calmlycoping.com/quiz or click on the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. So my first tip is to be intentional with technology time. So I make it a rule to not check my email before a certain time. And usually this is after my morning routine, which might consist of meditating, exercise, getting ready, and eating breakfast. Why do I make this rule? Because I want to be in control of my well-being when I first wake up in the morning. I don't know about you, but checking emails can sometimes cause feelings of anxiety, stress, and pressure from others. And taking time away from the stress and notifications can help you start off on a good foot first thing in the morning. Another way you can do this is to set your phone on Do Not Disturb or have certain automatic rules for when you get notifications. For example, I have my phone set on Do Not Disturb from the time I go to bed until the time I'm ready to check my phone on the morning on both a weeknight and a weekend schedule. It can help to be intentional in other ways. For example, by setting times in your calendar throughout your day that you want to check email and or social media. So I have 3 times during the day at let's say 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. that I set aside to check my email and check social media so that I'm not just mindlessly checking all throughout the day and then it's bleeding over into time for other tasks. Another tip is to spend time in nature. So spending time in nature is so beneficial for your mental health. So even if it's just taking a trip to your backyard, a local park or forest, or sitting out on your balcony, a Stanford research study found that walking in nature could lead to a lower risk of depression. And the study found that walking in nature resulted in neurological changes in the brain, specifically decreases in the area of the brain active during rumination or repetitive negative thinking. This is a quote by Rob Jordan from Stanford University. Quote, "Just as urbanization and disconnection from nature have grown dramatically, so have mental disorders such as depression. In fact, city dwellers have a 20% higher risk of anxiety disorders and a 40% higher risk of mood disorders as compared to people in rural areas," unquote. So take your dog for a walk in the park, enjoy a coffee in your backyard in the morning, or go for a hike on the weekends. The ways that you can spend time in nature are endless, and even if you live in an urban area, you can find a nearby park. And I suggest making it a point to leave your phone behind or not checking during this time. Your mental health will benefit from it. Another tip is to make alternatives to technology easily accessible. So you might reach for your phone or the television remote because it's easy, convenient, and entertainment on demand. The problem can happen when you're sucked into a Law and Order marathon or 30 minutes later you've wasted time stalking others on Instagram. Make it easier to be intentional with your time and take a break from technology at the same time. So leave magazines or books in easily accessible places, for example, the coffee table or your nightstand. And instead of reaching for your phone, read an article from a magazine or a chapter from a book. This can help you to improve your focus, to learn and retain new knowledge, and to be more intentional with your time away from technology. Unplug to reconnect with old-fashioned analog modes of entertainment. My next tip is to create rules with your loved ones. So being on the same page with friends, family, or your significant other can help make that transition to unplugging smoother. And it can also help you to unplug in your relationships. So when the phones are away, you can actually focus on listening to others instead of being distracted. Listening is one of the most important components of a healthy relationship and can improve trust, respect, and intimacy. And creating rules to disconnect can be as simple as no cell phones at the dinner table or while spending any specific quality time together. Having a conversation and agreement about this practice can go a long way in improving your relationships. And my next tip is to practice mindfulness. So turn off the distractions and practice mindfulness in your everyday life. Mindfulness, which I've talked about numerous times, is simply present moment awareness. And studies show that people who are aware in the present moment are happier. So you can start by choosing just one daily activity, set the phone aside, and tune into your senses. If you choose being mindfully aware while you're brushing your teeth, focus on the feeling of the bristles against your teeth and gums, the smell and taste of the mint, and the sight of yourself in the mirror. Unplug from your thoughts, from social media and your phone, and reconnect with your body and physical sensations. So your action tip is to take a minimum of 15 minutes daily to unplug and reconnect with yourself. This can have a massive impact on your happiness and on your mental health. I hope you found these tips helpful. Put it into action and let me know how it helps. I'd love to hear your feedback. So you can DM me on Instagram at TatianaGLPC or email me at tati@becalmwithtati.com and let me know if you've decided to become more analog this year. If you found this podcast episode informative, then please leave me a review on iTunes letting me know your thoughts. It really helps me out. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and until next time, be calm. Thanks so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please share this episode with a friend, and please subscribe and leave me a review on iTunes. Also, remember to check me out online at calmlycoping.com and connect with me on Instagram at TatianaGLPC. All content here is for informational purposes only. This content does not replace the professional judgment of your own mental health provider. Please consult a licensed mental health professional for all individual questions and issues. Till next time, I'm Tati, and this has been Calmly Coping.